As you prepare for your summer 2020 virtual campus experience with us, we want you to remember, even though our programs all need to move online this summer, you can still expect the same world-class academics that you would with any course or program at Tufts. As well, thanks to our virtual campus and online tools, you'll still be able to develop those lifelong friendships with peers from around the globe. Our faculty, staff, and pre college team have made it our priority to transform these programs, including the same engaging content students and parents alike would expect from a summer program at Tufts. And you can do it all from the comfort of your own home, from anywhere in the world, live on screen.
Now let's take a look at our MiniMed School, which is a new program for summer 2020. MiniMed School is a 2-week program running on our virtual campus from July 12th to July 24th.
So just to review a few of the program highlights, the goal of the Mini Medical School program is to provide you with an online intensive experience that will really give you an idea of what it's like to experience aspects of medical school and other professional health experiences. One of the key features is going to be working really closely with medical students as you go throughout this experience. And we'll have a number of strands that will, in the program, we'll try to give you an idea of a range of health professions. It's going to have a course experience feel to it. And this year we decided to focus on infectious diseases and immunology. It was intended to be one of the focuses of the in-person program as well, but obviously even more timely now than it was before, as we're in the COVID environment. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well as we're going through the course element of the MiniMed program. We also have a really exciting hands-on lab experience. We're going to be doing diagnostics and lab experiments from your house, and we'll send you everything you need for those experiences. We'll talk more about that in a second. And we're going to have lectures from really exciting leading professionals in different medical fields, ranging from discussions of surgery and what it is like to be a physician, to what it means to work with antibiotics in animals as a veterinarian. And we're going to gain insights into admission practices as well. We're going to hear from the Dean of Medical School Admissions, and you're going to have a lot of really close contact with medical students. I think that's one of the greatest features. So you can really get one-on-one interactions with those students and ask them what their process was, what they do love about being in that field. And then finally, the Capstone project that will run throughout is going to be putting together a TED Talk style short video that will be showcased at the end in a gala-like experience. And then we're actually going to have some element of a competition there where we can select certain numbers of those to go on our website to be advertised for future participants. This is a schedule for now. This is subject to change, but it will give you a good idea of what these elements are. We color-coded it so you could see what I call the main strands of the program and what a typical day is going to look like. Those elements shown in yellow are areas where you're going to have a large discussion by a medical expert on different topics. It will often be on medical topics and or related to their career pathways. And then in orange is our medical-based case study. This is called The Tragic Case of Stan. And this is a multi-day case study where a patient basically presents with issues and you have to diagnose that character with your lab and work through critical questions of how you would treat someone who has a bacterial infection. And shown in blue on this is our Capstone project. Those are times when you're going to work in small groups with a medical student to start figuring out what those capstone ideas are that you care a lot about. Capstone project will be, again, using that infectious disease and immunology that you've learned to discuss and describe an important topic that's both personally and socially important to you. And then shown in green is the mini course element of this that will have an infectious disease and immunology component. We based this partly off of the Great Diseases curriculum, which is a curriculum that has been founded in my lab. And it's going to be designed especially for you all so that you can learn the basics of infectious disease immunology, with the main goal of then leading to those small green sessions of case studies where you're going to run medical style case studies on a number of topics that really relate to the stuff we're seeing now with COVID. So for example, viral pneumonia, how vaccines work, and antiviral drugs.
And the undergraduate experience also really wouldn't be complete without the social aspects of our summer programs. Although this summer, our socializing is going to be through screens and more through virtual get-togethers. Our MiniMed School students will still have the opportunity to get to know other pre-college students from across the country and also around the world. Our teams are hard at work to create and build virtual social activities in the evenings and on weekends for our MiniMed School Summer 2020 students to enjoy and create lasting relationships with fellow high schoolers. Things like morning meetups, trivia nights, wellness clubs, game nights, and even like the brown bag lunches that Barry can expand a little bit more upon are all really great ways for you to connect with other students, not only within your program, but also across all of the different program offerings that are available this summer.
Yeah, so the brown bag lunches is actually something that we do in my lab where we have everyone in the group pull online, and these will be done in small groups of no more than 10 students per group with medical students um, and some scientists, and really to have just informal discussions to chat about, movies, TV, things that are going on. We'll have some theme-focused discussions as well, thinking about um, activities in colleges, some of the greatest challenges and they've faced. But again, it's just a place to pull up and have those more informal conversations with your peers.
Yep. So, in addition to the online application, this program requires a transcript, one letter of recommendation, and a parent permission form. We also strongly encourage applicants to have at least 1 year of prior biology experience for this relatively competitive program. Transcripts are also required, and they're required to be submitted by email via your high school counselor or high school administrator to precollege@tufts.edu. And if they cannot submit by email, please still reach out to us, and we will work with you to find another alternative solution to get all of your materials in on time.
With respect to application logistics and deadlines, despite the fact that our MiniMed School was at capacity earlier this year, the virtual format has actually allowed us to open up more seats to students. So you start and submit your application if you are one of those folks who did not quite yet. Applications, however, are due by May 1st, and your course deposit will be due 10 days after you're admitted in order to reserve your seat. Again, this is a highly competitive program, so fill it fast, even though we added more. And the sooner you complete your application and submit your deposit, the better to lock down that seat. For other policy questions or program details, please visit our website at precollege.tufts.edu, or you can email or call us at any time. Yeah, thanks again for joining us, and thank you all for going through the details of the programs. We hope that was helpful for all of you. Because this open house is meant for you to learn more about the things that you're interested in MiniMed, we'll spend the remainder of our time answering your questions as well as other frequently asked questions about MiniMed School. We've been taking notes of the questions that have been asked throughout the presentation, but feel free to post in the live Q&A, and we'll get through as many as we can email you if we don't get to them, or if you think of any questions after the session. Again, you're always welcome to email or give us a call.
Great, thanks, Ariana. So I see a couple of questions have popped up so far. The first one I see is, how will we take classes with the time difference? So Barry, is this something that you want to address?
Yeah, definitely. So if you look at the schedule, we've tried to color code things so that you can see the elements where you'll be doing them on your own time largely. So part of the course, one of the great features of having this mini course component is that it can be done asynchronously at the time you need to do it for your time zone to make sure it's done for the given days. So again, on the schedule, that would be the top block that talks about what those topics are. All of our large interactions where we have medical topics and career talks, those are also going to be recorded so that you could view them live or later. And then the small group sessions, those are going to be broken down by time zone, meaning that they do need to be done live and in person with your group, but we'll make every effort to make sure that groups can easily and comfortably get into those from different time zones.
Great, thanks so much, Barry. Another question that I see is, who should write your letter of recommendation? Ariana or Sally, if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that your letter of recommendation should really come from an instructor or some sort of counselor that really knows who you are and can really speak to your strengths and your capabilities as a student. When we are reviewing your applications, we really only see what's available to us with numbers, with transcripts, or maybe additional test scores that you may need to submit. By the way, I just want to clarify that transcripts are the only required piece of grade material that we require. You're more than welcome to send us any additional scores that you may have, but they're not required. Places like the letter of recommendation are really one of the only few spots in the application where we really get to hear a lot of your different stories, whether that be through your transcripts, kind of be contextualized on paper, right? So I would say just find somebody that really knows you well enough to speak to your academic capabilities and strengths, and we will be able to glean a lot from that and make an admissions decision on top of the other components of your application that we will review.
Great. Thanks so much, Sally. I think the next question I see is, how can I apply for financial aid for your program? Ariana or Sally, is this something you want to respond?
Yeah, absolutely. So once you submit the application and have been admitted into the program, there will be a spot for you to select that you're accepting the admission and whether or not you'd like to apply for financial aid. We then form and it's added to your application, and we review those on a monthly basis. Because we've changed to the virtual format and there's a little bit different assessment of the financial aid process, we're a little behind on the, I guess, allocation of financial aid right now, but they're come in and then you will get notification should you be allocated financial aid.
Great. Thanks, Ariana.
Allie, is there anything that you want to add to that?
No, I think you did a pretty good job. I think maybe the one thing that we should probably note is at this time, unfortunately, we do not extend financial aid opportunities to international students. That's been a very popular question that we've been getting across all of our programs, especially MiniMed School. So you are able to apply or at least indicate your financial aid and interest for financial aid through the admissions agreement form once you've received your acceptance. And then you'll be, receiving more information as well as a financial aid application from there once you indicate your interest.
Great. Thanks so much. Next question we see is, how much individual work is expected per day in addition to class time? So Barry, I'll turn this one over to you.
Yeah, thanks. I've labeled on the calendar, the example calendar, about how much work time that would be. But we're expecting about between an hour to an hour and a half a day, no more than that, of individual work time. And that will be really to prepare you to be able to do and have enough background knowledge to do those case studies.
Awesome. I see one over here, sorry, that was in the chat. If I've already paid my deposit from when I was originally accepted, when do I need to make my final payment? I believe the final payments as of right now are all due on May 15th, unless you apply. I'm sorry, they are all due on May 15th, with the application deadline being May 1st. Is that Ariana or Sally? Am I correct in that?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay, great. And then the other question that I see over here in the chat is the Capstone project a group project or an individual project? Barry, I'm going to give that one to you.
Yeah, sure. So the Capstone projects, the TED video talks, we envision those being group projects. And then I need to give that a premise. I teach a lot of classes, and basically what we're envisioning with this, to make sure that anyone who's thinking group projects and rolling their eyes, is that we're going to have this structured out in a way so that you can work as a group, not be overwhelmed as a group, and each have your own parts of the project. That said, I would be totally excited if students want to go beyond the scope of what the project is and get really excited about it. Often when I have students make videos, we did just kind of phenomenal and amazing products. And I'll also relate this to a question that came earlier about will we see any content focused to dentistry? And yes, we're going to have at least one career discussion by a dentist, but that would be another example of a topic a student could be excited about to use in a capstone project, thinking about infectious diseases and immunology and dentistry, which is a really important topic.
Great. Thanks, Barry. You just got my next question as well. So, um, will this program give us any credits in the future?
I need to clarify credits. This is the core. The summer experience is not an undergraduate credit-bearing experience, if that's the question.
I think it is. So we'll go with that. And if for the person who asked that question, if that's not what you meant,
Yeah, please
please
follow up.
feel free to ask another one. And then the next question from the same person: if I am a citizen of the United States but stay abroad, will I be considered an international student?
No, if you're a citizen of the United States, you're not considered an international student, so you'll be eligible to apply for financial aid.
Okay, great. Next question I see. I missed the early part of this meeting. How the lab portion will be handled.
Yeah, so I encourage everyone who's interested to take a look at the link that's on the website to get an idea of what this tragic case of Stan entails, what some of the storyline is there for the lab. But the way this is going to work, we're really lucky. My center actually licensed the lab to be produced through Carolina Biologicals, but many of you probably have used materials from those folks in school. But essentially, when you sign up for the program, you'll receive a code from us. You'll be able to put it into Carolina's website, and they're going to ship the lab materials directly to you. That's everything from safety glasses to gloves to lab coats and all of the cultures and experimental materials you'll need for the lab process itself, including the lab books. And then the way the lab will work is that you're going to have to do an actual safety training for the lab, and you'll get certified in biosafety usage, and we'll do that online. And then every day when you meet up with your small group, according to the time zone matchups for those labs, a medical student is going to work with you to walk you through the setup, the running of the lab, and the breakdown from the lab, and then also to address the questions afterwards, which are, I think, one of the most exciting parts of the lab, which is making interpretations based on the experiments you're doing as to what it means for the patient stand.
Great. So we did have another message just pop in about the credits. Yes, wanted to know, do we get credits that can be used for the undergrad program later? I believe the answer to that is no at this time from this program, but I'll have Barry or Ariana confirm that for me.
There are not undergraduate are given for this program. However, it will, if you apply for a Tufts undergraduate degree at a later time, you can use this on your resume, and we will know that you've participated previously through our student information systems.
Great, thanks, Ariana. So I do have a question here. Sorry, it's in the chat. How, if I decided not to attend the program but have already made my deposit, is it refundable? Sally, is that something that you can take?
Yes. So if you submitted a deposit prior to April 10th, before we announced our virtual transition, you are eligible for a 100% refund of any deposit or program fees that you may have paid. There was an email that should have been sent to any and all students who have been accepted, who had deposited to the MiniMed School program about, I believe, 2 Fridays ago. It might have been at this point, honestly, all the time is kind of blurring together for me. But it was within the past 1 or 2 weeks that we sent out this email to students. And in this email, there is a link that you can click to update your enrollment status based on this new announcement that we made with the virtual transition. If you indicate that you will be withdrawing from this program, it'll indicate to us and confirm your withdrawal from this program, but it'll also allow us to start the refund process on our side so that, you are all set with officially being both physically and financially withdrawn from the program. So if you are looking to withdraw, we hope that you won't and you'll really consider this program and all that it has to offer. But if it is not the right fit for you and you did deposit prior to April 10th, please fill out that enrollment status update form for us and we will go ahead and start processing your withdrawal.
Great. Thanks for that update, Sally. And if you have any other questions, as always, feel free to email the team regarding that. I just saw I have a few more questions coming in. This is great. If my two kids join the program together, as well as our neighbor, can they do the lab work together? Barry, I will give that to you.
I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Yeah, definitely.
Great. And someone else asked, so I will set up my own lab at home. I think the answer to that is yes, but I'll have to
Yes,
go
and
with
when we do the safety training, we're going to discuss with you the most appropriate locations for you to do that.
Great. Next question I see is, do we receive a certificate of completion?
If
Barry,
you
or
are planning to create certificates of completion from your aspect of things, but the pre-college office does offer a completion confirmation for each student who participated in pre-college programs.
great, thank you. And then the last question I'm seeing right now is, just as a clarification, do you send us the lab materials overseas? And is that included in the cost, or is there an additional cost for the shipments?
Uh,
I'm going to pass that
so
to
we
Barry.
we're we were fortunate enough last week to settle on um, the process for Carolina shipping materials based on this code system. So I will have to follow back up with you offline after I check with Carolina on the shipping constraints.
So we will make sure that Barry has your email address and get you that information following this open house. And then another question that just popped in is, will each lesson be videotaped so that I can review if I missed the lesson? Back to you, Barry.
Yeah, so all of when so I know we have the schedule still up, and this is one of the critical parts of talking through this. Everything shown in yellow here will be videotaped, so in case you miss it or want to rewatch it, you can rewatch it. The elements in blue and in the Stan lab case and the parts shown in yellow are, I'm sorry, and the parts shown in green, the case study parts during the day times, those are times that that activity will be done with your TA in a small group. So you would have to talk with your group about videotaping those or recording those when you're there. They're meant to be done in real time with your group, but again, they're going to be scheduled based on time zone. These are small interactive group sessions where people talk and communicate with each other. And the reason I do this, it's the same way that we run our small group programs at the medical school, where small groups are required to be in person or in real time so that you can contribute to the decisions in the case study that's happening.
Great. Thanks so much, Barry. So at this time, that is all the questions I see. Hold on one second. Just a couple more. A question that we hear a lot is also, what about supplemental materials like parent permission forms, transcripts, and letters of recommendation? How do we find these materials, or what is the best way to submit them? And Sally, I will turn it over to you for the answer.
Yep. So regarding your parent permission form, once you submit your application, the parent permission form will be emailed to the parent or guardian that you list in your application. They will just need to follow the link in the email to grant you the permission. And if they, don't receive the parent permission, if they don't receive the parent permission email within a day or so after you've submitted your application, please contact us at precollege@tufts.edu. Um, and we will go ahead and assist you. But it's important to note that it does take about a day or so for the system to generate the parent permission form email. So if you don't see it after maybe 2 days or so, please feel free to reach out to us. In regards to transcripts, we did talk about it a little bit earlier, but we do require transcripts to be emailed by an administrator or counselor from your high school to precollege@tufts.edu. Unfortunately, due to our university and college policy, we are not allowed to accept transcripts that are emailed by students. So please have your school email it to us. And like we had mentioned earlier, if for some extenuating circumstance, you're not able to get a hold or contact or reach your high school or, an administrator or counselor in your high school, we can try to work with you to figure out the next best possible solution to get all of your materials to us for your application. For your letter of recommendation, you will indicate the name and email address of the person that you wish to write your letter of rec within your application. As soon as you do so, there will be an email with a link that's sent out to your recommender to basically ask them to submit their letter. And they'll need to fill out a short form and upload their letter. And if they don't receive an email from us, or if they're having any separate issues uploading any of the forms or the documents that they want to upload for your letter of recommendation, please have them contact us and we will go ahead and work with them to make sure that everything is all set and ready to go for you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, and thanks to Barry and Sally for answering all of those questions. We really appreciate all of you joining us to talk about our summer 2020 mini med school intensive on our virtual campus. As a reminder, you're always welcome to call or email us with any further questions, and we hope to see you virtually. Thanks a
Thanks,
lot.
everybody.
Thanks,
Have a
everybody.
great day.